Hello, and welcome back to the next chapter of this White Album 2 light novel Doujinshi. This is Bizarre Love Triangle. So, on the last part, we found out as readers that the conversation between Haruki and Io was not romantic in nature, but rather she was asking help, dealing with some very, very petty women who were in love with Takeya. And they got into a fight, and then they solved it. And here we are. So continuing on with Bizarre Love Triangle, Chapter 6. The moment Haruki passed inside, a hand reached out from the shadow of the entryway, grabbed his right arm, and shoved him against a wall. Smack! The right hand of the boy in question grazed Haruki's left ear before striking the wall. I need to ask you something. I believe I told you to be more courteous when asking people questions, Izuka. Again, they really like that shoving someone against the wall trope. Yeah, sorry, but, there aren't a lot of people around here, so it's not really a problem, right? I'm not really into being approached by guys. You're no fun. Takeya removed his hand from the wall and took a step back. Again, such Takeya Haruki energy here. Sorry you got dragged into that bullshit. What do you mean? The cat fight with Mika-chan and Io? You were eavesdropping again? Is this a hobby for you? Come on, Mr. Class Rep. Why couldn't you have just explained all of that to me before? What part did you hear it from? From around the time that you started preaching? Haruki sighed very deeply. Also, if he was there, step in. Are you serious? Just step in. Answer me. No smoke screens this time, okay? If you heard it all, I guess it can't hurt. Io asked me to keep it a secret from you. Why? She didn't want you to be put in an uncomfortable position because of her. That's what she said. So she didn't want you to know about it at all. What the hell? That's what I'd like to know. Because Haruki has got to butt his head into everybody's relationships. Everybody's school issues, everybody's home life. I'm not one to talk romance, but I think I get the picture pretty well in this case. This would mean that you and Io have mutual feelings for each other, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't. No, it's not true. So defensive. Of course, the friendship you fostered in middle school is also very strong. But it looks to me like you both have some feelings that go beyond that. When something is asked of me, I take the responsibility to do it thoroughly. If something like this happens again, and someone shows up to pick a fight with Io, I'm going to intercede. However, regardless of what romantic feelings you and Io might have for each other, if your continued stubbornness ends up pulling other people into the mess, the story will be different. And I have no interest in playing along with a farce. It's not a damn farce. Oh. When we were on our school trip in our third year of middle school, I told Io that I liked her. Guess what? She turned me down flat, and she has every time, ever since. Poor Takeya. He shot his shot. Oh, that's weird. It sounds better in the present tense. But he did. It was between spring and summer of their third year. Io's best friend at the time was in love with Takeya. Oh, of course she was. Io, unable to sort out her own feelings for Takeya, put a lid on him. She helped out by acting as a go-between. Meanwhile, at that same time, Takeya had become aware that his own bittersweet feelings for Io were those of love. Therefore, he was less than happy about Io trying to set him up with another girl. That's hard, especially in, late middle school. Feelings are flying, nobody really understands them yet. You're not mature enough to make mature decisions. And in June, the third night of their school trip, there was nowhere for them to talk alone about Io's friend, so he had gone to Io in the girls' room. The other girls were going to be away, visiting the boys in their room. But those girls came back. Oh, God. Oh, God. This is so cheesy. Io and Takeya, who assumed they would be leaving shortly to go back to the boys' room, hid in the closet. But the girls didn't leave. Within the cramped closet, a heat came into their shoulders where they touched. They heard each other breathing, the lightly salty smell of sweat. Before long, the girls' discussion turned to Io and Takeya. Oh, God, this is so cheesy. This is so cute. This is definitely fan fiction. I don't mean like light novel material, because I understand that this is a fan fiction, but this is like the cheesy one-shot fan fiction. Like, oh, they're trapped in the closet together. It's so silly. I love it. Those two are totally into each other, right? With this talk, this atmosphere sweeping him along, Takeya made up his mind and confessed. He held Io's hand and murmured sweetly in her ear, his voice so low that only she could hear. I like you. I always, always have. You're the only one I've ever wanted. I'm in love with you. Will you go out with me? But Io cut him down ruthlessly. No, Io, that was so cute. That was the perfect time. What the hell, Takeya? We're friends. Best friends. But to me, you're always going to be the little Izuka-kun that you were when we first met. I don't see you as a guy. You're not someone I'd consider dating. Nope. Sorry. That's just too much. Sheesh. She's brutal. Anyone would think so, hearing her. Because of that, she wound up not having any girl friends at school. Poor Io. Didn't know how to turn somebody down properly, didn't understand her own feelings, and was too considerate of her own friend. I get it now. I came on too fast. She's a sporty girl who dedicates all her energy to basketball. She doesn't know anything about love yet. Asking her out at a time like that was a screw up on my part. She could have just been afraid that once you started going out, your relationship would change. Maybe she valued her as... Should have been him. She valued him as her best friend too much, Haruki thought. But he was hesitant to say as much to Takeya, because he might end up continuing with... Sometimes married couples who used to be close end up divorcing after big nasty disputes, like my parents did. Oh, that's tough. So, summer break started, and I started dating that friend of Io's, which did make me feel better for a little while. But at the end of the break, she moved to Kyushu, and we broke up. I was depressed as hell, and right when entrance exams were the last thing on my mind, Io provoked me. What do you mean, provoked? She said, let's both take the exam for Hojo, and whoever gets in can order the other person to do one thing. Anything. That's an awfully risky gamble to take with a healthy, pubescent boy. Healthy, pubescent boy, Takeya. It really is, though. That's a very, very flirty bet to make. So, the day the results were announced, Io checked my test number before hers. Oh, that's so cute. Oh my God. And she was so happy she cried. It made me think, maybe she really does like me. I almost said, I'm willing to wait as long as it takes for you to fall for me. But before I could, she added, we'll be going to school together again, buddy. There I was. The mood was perfect. I was ready to confess again, and she stopped me in my tracks. Takeya got friend zoned. No. But having a friendship is really good too, I will say. If you're not like ridiculously in love with someone, really friendship shouldn't be considered that bad of a second choice. Haruki thought, you think Io deliberately pulled some kind of stunt there? Couldn't she just have been happy to get to go to high school with you? And you heard what she friggin' said back there. Date, fall in love, do whatever you want. I guess that's about how she feels. At this, Takeya turned his handsome face aside, dropping his gaze. Oh my god, handsome face. I love the way they describe, like, yes, he's the handsome bachelor, but at the same time, this just kind of reads like I don't know. It's a little silly, a little cheesy. May I ask you something? What? The way you've been messing around with all these other girls. Is it some kind of spiteful move toward Io? No, it's not. It's kind of pathetic, actually. If I don't go on like this, I start feeling like I really will be little Izuka-kun forever. When I'm with other girls, it helps me feel a little more like a man. Makes things easier. A sorrowful look came into Takeya's face. Aww. Feel more like a man. That's sad. But you know, that's how people's words affect us. And you never know. Something small that you say to someone that you don't even remember saying, like Io calling him little Izuka-kun, that cut him so deeply that now he has a complex about it. You know? I mean, he should take responsibilities for his own actions, but that's how much one tiny thing can affect people. It's ridiculous. Watching him, hearing him say these awful things, Haruki thought, for crying out loud, just how much does this guy love Io? I see. This was the only response Haruki could manage to give, looking at Takeya's expression. This is way too complicated. It's far beyond anything I can handle. He couldn't help reaching this conclusion. Talking romance isn't my thing in the first place, and this is an extraordinarily tangled situation. Yeah, you think so? But Haruki is all too willing to give advice on things he doesn't truly understand himself. So, I'm sorry, but if this kind of shit gets stirred up again, help Io out, will you? Yes, since I made a promise to her. But I have my own life to deal with too. I can't babysit you two around the clock. I know. I'm gonna quit messing around. Do that. He's not. Spoiler alert, he's not. Okay, we've seen how introductory chapter plays out. We've seen how CC plays out. He's gonna play around for a long time yet. And I'm gonna quit hanging out with girls who just want to mess around too. What? From now on, I'm looking for girls who are serious, quiet, refined, not the kind who will mess with Io. No, hang on, that's not what I meant. If you want to solve this problem, you should approach things more seriously with Io. Although, with a serious, quiet girl, it might be harder to draw lines. If I don't make sure she understands everything before we start dating, and do everything right when we break up, it could actually turn into a bloodbath. I'm gonna need to do some research. Takeya, I'm so disappointed in you. You were like so close. You were like about to reach the finish line of maturity. And then nope, you tripped and fell and ran backwards. Hey, snap out of it. Don't get yourself into any more trouble than you already have. Don't be like that, buddy. I'll find a cute girl for you too. What was that? Buddy? I like you. I wish you'd ease off on the preaching, but I like how responsible you are. So, I've decided that you're my new best friend. Now, there's you and Io. I didn't ask for this. Hey, no complaining. Just accept it. Be grateful. Takeya wrapped his arm around Haruki's shoulders. This guy's strong. He's no beanpole. Anyway, come with me. Oh, maybe it's just the hand slamming into the wall, but I'm still like reading this through a lens that like, what if they fall in love too? Which I know is so dumb, I'm sure. I've only read one doujin. Out of all the doujins from White Album 2 that I've seen, only one of them have hinted at Takeya and Haruki as a couple. And it wasn't even like seriously them together. It was more like a joke. It was a gag. It's so funny to me that this one's like slightly hinting at it too. How many times do I have to tell you I'm busy? We're going to wait for Io to finish practice and call her up. We're what? Also, Haruki, you're calling me by my first name now? If Io wants this whole thing just now to be a secret from me, I'll go along. I'm going to pretend I don't have any idea what's going on between you two. You better play like you didn't tell me anything either. I'm not interested in lying. I'm telling Io everything. No. I mean, yeah, good for him. That's what you should do. But Haruki saying I'm not interested in lying is so ironic. Settle down. I'm just telling you to be quiet. And what's wrong with telling a little lie if it'll make somebody else happy? Come on, all you have to do is not say anything, all right? Haruki. That's so flirty. That's so flirty. Dude, what is even happening here? I love this. What is this? No, you're not roping me in. This is a nightmare, Haruki thought. A beautiful nightmare at that. Hopping over to Bizarre Love Triangle, Chapter 7. I'm still blushing. Like, what the heck? What the heck? Cute. Very, very cute. Hey, Mizusawa, I understand you're Izuka's best friend. When Io appeared at Goodies, a beaming Takeya introduced Haruki to her by saying, "This guy is my new best pal." It's so awkward. Upon looking at Haruki's uncomfortable face, after a moment's surprise, all Io did was return a strained smile. Oh, yeah? That's great. I bet you're really glad to have a good guy friend now, huh, Takeya? Yep. Hey, Kitahara, this is our first time talking, right? You might be right. Do you come here often? Well, if you're Takeya's best friend now, Kitahara, would you be best friends with me too? Yeah, sure thing. Can I call you Haruki? Sure. Can I call you Io too? Sure. Fantastic. Let's get something to drink. Io, you want a ginger ale, right? I'll be right back. Thanks. So awkward. Why lie? This is such an unnecessary lie. This is so dumb. Io wants Haruki to lie to protect Takeya's feelings. Takeya found out, wants to lie to Io to protect her feelings. Dumb. Absolutely overcomplicating things. Hey, what the hell is going on here? You didn't tell Takeya about us, did you? I did not. Really? Really? To be more accurate, I only told him about what happened afterward. Okay. Still a lie. Even if it's a half lie by your own admission, it is still a lie. The day they became friends, Io had explained something to Haruki. Why do you want this to be a secret from Izuka? Did you know Takeya and I are close? I remember you hanging out a lot over the break. I'm sure he'd be happy to help you study. In spite of how he acts, I imagine he has a decent head on his shoulders. He and I are best friends, but around exam time, some stuff went screwy. I don't want to ask him for help studying, so I don't want him to know about this. Also, I really think she wants to protect her, I don't know what you would call it, but the bet that she had made about, yeah, let's see if we can both pass the entrance exams, and she ended up passing. But she doesn't want Takeya to think that she works so hard only for him. She wants Takeya to think that she's just naturally smart kind of thing. Because otherwise it would kind of expose her for caring about him too much. The fact that her own friend and Takeya were dating must still be lurking around in Io's mind, Haruki thought. And they both had come to me with stuff they didn't want to say to each other. I hate lying, yet here I am. What's with this situation then? Well, it started when Izuka suddenly shoved me against the wall. Whoa, he's wall slammed you? Sounds a little gay. Oh, did you tell her already? Gay. That's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying this whole story. Like, what the heck? Takeya returned, smirking broadly. His face prickled Io and Haruki both. Really, though, Takeya getting buddy-buddy with the top of the class? This is wild. Well, I was actually going to him for some girl advice. You were what? Girl advice from this robot? Like, Mika-chan asked me to be her boyfriend for real the other day, but we don't really have that much in common, you know? Like, our principles are just different. And we all know Haruki's got a way with words, right? So I asked him how I should word things to turn her down without stuff getting too heated. What, you don't believe me? Who cares if I believe you? It's your life. Io looked away in a huff. He's not going to date her then? So cute. She's so happy about this. The visible corner of Io's mouth slackened just slightly. This change in her expression did not go unnoticed by Haruki. So easy to read. All right, everyone, glass is ready. What are we, old men at a bar? To the three of us and our friendship. Cheers. Aww. I love their friendship. Their friendship is really, really cute. Too bad that it takes so long for them to get anywhere. But at least they didn't have any big traumatic experiences either. You know, I don't want to name names, but there's another love triangle that went extremely badly. So moving on to Bizarre Love Triangle Part 8. Wait, you're into Io Mizusawa? I mean, yeah, she's definitely one of the top 3 hottest girls in our year, but she's so laid back. I don't think she's even interested in guys. Also, if you try to get too close to her, Izuka's gonna step in. Get past him, and Haruki Kitahara pops up. I heard he'll just talk and talk at you and wear you down until you give up. And the guys who actually manage to ask her out get told something like, sorry, I'm just focusing on basketball right now. This is really cute. These 3 paragraphs are really, really cute. Just going over the 3 characters from other characters' perspectives. You want to date Takeya Izuka? Yeah, he does have a sweet face. For all the showing off he does. You're probably cute enough that you could date him, but you won't get him all yourself. There'll be other girls. Could you handle that? Also, you'd better not say anything bad about Io Mizusawa or Haruki Kitahara around him. He'll dump you in a second, and he won't be nice about it. Well, at least he stands up for his friends. What, you're interested in Haruki Kitahara? I guess you could be that delusional if you weren't in his same class. Because he's such a boring, lecturing nerd. Nerd, he is. He's a nerd. Look, since the day he got here, he's consistently made the top scores on every school test, except for getting second highest in English sometimes. He does also have the leadership thing, so that could be promising, but I'm guessing you've never been on the receiving end of one of his lectures. They're like concrete. I don't think any girl could handle that. This is like a why your fave is problematic. in the lightest of ways, but it's very cute and funny. This is the story all about how my life now. This is the story of one of the fabled three who are so tied with the snowy season, and the two who were outside of it, aka Takeya and Io. The story of the two who exhausted our protagonist with their mutual love constantly, and equally mutually stifled. It is a story that has very little to do with the main tale. But it is the story of the two people who, just maybe, accidentally honed our hero's worst weapon, that of the lie, told for someone else's sake. Okay, that's kind of putting the blame in the wrong place. Just because someone asks you to tell one lie doesn't mean that, everything from there is your fault because you taught him how to lie. That it's absolutely still Haruki's fault. For the next 3 years, Haruki, Io, and Takeya carried on in their bizarre love triangle. Every time Takeya found a new girlfriend, Io felt a deep agony. And a number of times she tried to cut off the relationship. But every single one of those times, Haruki's maneuvers and persuasions moved her, and she held fast. Which is interesting because later on, Takeya and Io are desperate to keep Haruki and Setsuna dating, even though I really don't feel like that's right. And even here, if Io wants to cut off their relationship, just let her. Don't force her to be friends with the guy that she's in love with, During their second year school trip, Takeya once again asked Io out. But Io had just been appointed the new captain of the girls' basketball team and was in a harried state over issues between team members. Once again, he was rejected harshly. Which, it's dumb, Io likes Takeya, Takeya likes Io, but Io is not in the right headspace to be in a relationship with him right now. That is not something she should be scolded for, I guess. I know, including myself, we're like, come on, just date already. But really, you don't have to date someone just because you like each other. If you're not in the right space in life for dating, then just don't date. That's fine. You don't need so many reasons to say no to someone. Just say no. This discouraged Takeya considerably. Not bothering to hide it, he began womanizing again, even more rampantly than before. Io, however, gradually grew used to Takeya's relationships, always so brief, with girls, to the point that she managed to cheat her own feelings, thinking it might be best that she simply keep one eye on her flawed friend. Meanwhile, in spite of Takeya's extraordinarily awareness of the ins and outs of human emotions, a certain problematic assumption of his, that there was one particular girl whose emotions he could never trust, only worsened. And in the spring of their 3rd year, Haruki, sandwiched between these two and their complications, was invited to join the light music club by Takeya, in the interest of creating a few memories here at the end of their high school life. Despite a lack of talent or musical sense, he began to practice the guitar. Which is slowly bringing us closer to the beginning of introductory chapter. It is really cool to see a little bit, obviously this is not canon, but to see the backstory between Takeya and Io, because in the game it's really just like, oh yeah, we've been friends since middle school kind of thing, But now we're really seeing how it had played out, and I think that's really, really cool. I really wish they had done a side story for Takeya and Io. However, petty turmoil among the other club members over a certain circle-breaking girl caused the club to crumble. Left alone with the school festival right before his eyes, Haruki managed with record timing to get in contact with 2 girls. One of them had been expelled from the music department, the one who sat in the seat next to Haruki's for their 3rd year, always either napping or grumpy. That was the frustrated prodigy pianist Kazusatoma. Hey, finally, our two heroines have been brought up in the story. The other one wore the mask of a prim and perfect girl, and beneath that varnish was lonesome, terrified of being left out, pitiable. I mean, everyone wears a mask, to be fair. That was Miss Hojo High, the queen of solo karaoke, Setsuna Ogiso. In order to make their performance on the second day of the festival a success, the three of them rehearsed like crazy at Kazusa's home studio. Those brief but intense pre-festival days. And the legendary show, the final and greatest day of them all. That bittersweet season passed, and then came winter. Haruki found himself with two red threads wrapped around him. One connected to Kazusa's little finger, the other to Setsuna's, sewing him into the tapestry of that most dearly beloved, most deeply painful love triangle. And this is alluding to the red string of fate. In mythology, it's like if you're fated to be with someone, not necessarily romantically, but usually, you have a little red string tied to your pinky finger, and it's also tied to someone else's. So no matter how far apart you get, you'll always end up connecting again, which is what happens with Kazusa, Setsuna, and Haruki. So now we have two love triangles going on. So with that, we will stop there for today. So thanks so much for joining me on this chapter of this White Album 2 Doujinshi, and I'll be back with the next chapter shortly. Until then, hope you take care. See you!